One simple thing can change the course of your entire life. I'm going to inform you all on the pedal steel and its importance to me. Not everybody knows what a pedal steel is, but everybody's heard one before. And for the last 6 years, I've made a living playing pedal steel across the country on tour with many country artists, including Randall King, Jake Worthington, Braxton Keith, Casey Donahue, and many, many others. It's important that you understand the dying art that is this instrument, the mechanics it takes to play one, and the major impact that it's had on my life. Before we jump into the details on the pedal steel, I'd like to give you a brief rundown on how I got started playing one. In 2018, while attending college, I visited my cousin who had just bought 2 pedal steels. I've been a musician my entire life, and I always thought that the pedal steel was the coolest thing on earth. I knew it was a dying art, and I've been told my entire life that most of the players that play pedal steel are either dead or they're far and few in between. He gave me a price that I couldn't refuse, and I bought one of the steels that he had. I became inseparable from it. You couldn't get me away from it, and I became obsessed. I finally figured out what I wanted to do with my life, and that was be a professional musician, and this is how I was going to do it. I knew it was a dying art, and so I knew that I wouldn't have any trouble finding somewhere or someone to play with, and I was right. I became very, very busy after I graduated from college. Now that we talked about my personal history with the pedal steel, I want to talk more about how you actually play one. So on my steel, I have one neck with 10 strings. The strings are like guitar strings, except they're longer and they're tighter. The player will be wearing 3 picks on one hand, on the thumb, index, and middle finger, and in the other hand they hold a metal tone bar on the strings to change the pitch. There are also rods, pulleys, and bell cranks underneath the steel that are connected to the foot pedals that the player operates with their foot and the knee levers that they operate with their knees. Very rarely are they going to be using one of these things at one time. They're usually going to be using 3 or more. The foot pedals and the knee levers, they change the pitch of the string either by lowering or raising. And the player must be a great multitasker to be able to perform a bunch of functions at once and be able to play with a band at the same time. Now that we talked about how you actually play one, I want to talk a little bit more about the major impact that it's had on my personal life. The pedal steel has given me a purpose, and it filled that hole in that spot in my life where there was something missing. It allows me to get out the emotions and feelings that I can't describe with words. It allows me to invoke that emotion onto others. It's given me a voice when I lacked confidence in myself. It's brought me some of the best friends I could ever ask for. It's taken me to places I never thought I could. It's taken me to places that I've never heard of. But the biggest impact it's had on me is the memories that I made out on the road. I constantly think about things that that I experienced on tour, and whether good or bad, each memory is a happy one. I'm thankful for all the places that the pedal steel has taken me, and I am excited about the places that it is yet to take me. After we've talked about a little bit about the major impact that it's had on my life, I'd like to recap on what we talked about today. In review, we've talked about the dying art of the pedal steel, my personal history with the pedal steel, the mechanics on how you actually play one, and the major impact it's made on my life. If you don't find your purpose, it'll find you. Thank you all for listening today.